Welcome to another edition of Ljubljana Talks here live at IBTM 2024. And with Goras, we have another fantastic guest to talk to, Anita Paic, the director of Vienna Convention Bureau. Welcome to Ljubljana Talks.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here.
We're not just going to talk about Ljubljana, of course not. We can talk about Vienna. Vienna, of course, being a role model to Ljubljana in so many ways. But before we go into that, how does it feel stepping into the shoes of two Christians that were before you running the Convention Bureau?
Actually, when I accepted the offer, I wasn't thinking that there were two Christians before me, and I wasn't aware that I'm the first female being in the role of the director of the Viennese Convention Bureau. I'm full of respect, I'm full of excitement, I'm full of also being happiness, actually really happiness and privileged to have that role and have the responsibility. As you said, Vienna is very much respected for the position it has in tourism and in the convention area, and at the same time I really feel that the people are really looking very carefully what will happen with the destination, so I feel privileged and very much respectful for the position. Yes.
Yes, congrats for your new position.
Thank you.
But on the other side, it's a big responsibility. I agree with that, because for the last 14 years you were number one according to Meeting Experience Index without any serious competition.
Ooh.
This year is a little bit harder, I would say, but still, I mean, Vienna is a role model, as Jan said. Why actually? Can you tell us why?
There is not one single reason why Vienna is doing so well. It's a people's business we're working in, and people make the difference. I'm living in Vienna now for many, many years, nearly my whole life. And what really makes the difference in this business is that people do cooperate. They work together very strongly, and I think that's really crucial. But besides that, there is also a lot of good things, if I may call it that way, in Vienna. You have this wonderful heritage. You have this exceptional infrastructure. You have sustainability not just as a buzzword, but really being lived there. You have a development. You have innovation. This is really in the DNA from Vienna. So there are many, many, many reasons which do pay into that success, and really on top of it, or if you see it as a pyramid, on the bottom of it, really the fundament of that success, it's really people. People make the difference.
Amazing. Can you tell us a little bit more about the structure of your convention bureau? How many people works in your bureau? Because this is also a benchmark for others, for those struggling with the staff and resources. Maybe we can learn something from your case.
Well, if my boss is listening, I need more people. I guess this is what everybody would say. Well, I'm very lucky to have an experienced team, and at the same time we have youngsters who are eager to work in that business. In total, we have 15 people in the convention office, and we are embedded in the Vienna Tourist Board. This might sound a lot, or maybe not a lot. There is always plenty of possibilities to do and plenty of developments you could really push forward. But what I think really made the difference a couple of years was the establishment of two teams in the Vienna Convention Office, one focusing on congresses and conventions and the other one on corporate meetings. Why did this make really a difference? Because these two areas have completely different logics and completely different customer journeys. So I think it was a smart move to have two dedicated teams offering tailor-made solutions for those specific customer journeys and really enhance those. So I think this is maybe the biggest difference to other convention offices.
We have a similar setup. Of course, in our case, we don't have teams. We have a person doing the associations and a person doing the corporate. So shout out to Jure and Sara. Where would you then put the sporting events? Because when we look at it, it falls in many ways more into the corporate kind of a segment because of, it's not the typical convention center kind of a thing, but at the same time, in the background, there's usually an association that runs the sporting event. How do you view it?
Do you have a mic in one of our meeting rooms? We had really very...
Maybe.
We had a lot of discussions about exactly that one. And we actually came up with the solution that we should put it in that team where there is a heart for that topic. Sport events, again, have a completely different logic, and you have to have some interest and some passion for that segment. So as you can really argue for either or, for both, it would fit for both. We actually right now are focusing more on who really loves that segment, and so where would be the best fit. And we strongly believe that this is a segment which will increase in the near future, and we do see already developments into that direction. And interesting, in some hotel chains, we did see that people have dedicated teams for the sporting segment.
It's a beautiful answer to say whoever has the passion for it shall do it. I love that. I love that. And you can do that when you have a proper team, as you do. So
I am really happy that I have.
Yes, you do. You do.
Yeah, another question is about innovations. You were always famous because of different innovations, startups and so on. Do you have a support for that? How do you actually support that part of the industry? I remember some periods with, 5, 10 completely new companies entering the market with some crazy stuff, It was before Corona, and even now I know that you have a lot of such companies. Is there any system behind, or how does it
You
work?
mean in our bureau?
In Austria or in Vienna, I would say, because these are all connected to the meetings industry, those innovations. Yeah.
In our area, we do differentiate between fundamental and incremental innovation, how we develop as a destination. I think you need to have both. You need to have the improvement, which is really the incremental improvement constantly, but there also need to be fundamental innovation, really kind of hopefully a little bit disruptive innovation. And you need both to really succeed. In Vienna, there are actually two companies, if I may call it that way, who are finding solutions for the destination, and they seek for opportunities globally. Who could be the best fit for Vienna, and they support them in various ways. There are fundings to support them. There is an organization in Vienna to support them with people moving to Vienna, helping them with the bureaucracy which needs to be done, and so on and so on. You need to have the combination of different areas.
Another thing I want to ask you is, but I will start with another perspective. I love this comparison. When some of the old, some friend of mine went to Kornati Islands, he asked one old Barbara, why is this so beautiful actually? And he said, because it's a little bit more than nothing, which is a definition of beauty. Am I right? But I'm coming to the brand now of Vienna. The brand is so strong. I mean, it's amazing. You never actually detour to something which is out of the box. I would say the message is always the same about Vienna. Is there any strategy behind that this works so heavily? I would say on the market. And Vienna is a little bit more than nothing, but you know what I mean. A little bit philosophical question, I know. Yeah.
It is.
Sorry.
All good. I like the connection with the Kornati Islands, and it's amazing. There is, we would say, nothing in our perspective, but there is a lot. Yeah. There is a lot. It's such a rich surrounding, and in Vienna, I think what really makes what my colleagues really did excellent in the brand development. They always reinvented it, and at the same time, it didn't feel like a heartbreak. It felt like normal. It felt like organic, and at the same time, it always kept relevance. And I think that's really the clue of excellent brand work, to stay relevant for so many decades. Constantly, and the competition hasn't gotten less, it got even more over the last few years, and at the same time really keep the heritage. And I think that's really difficult to maintain that, to keep and embrace the heritage, and then at the same time be relevant for the upcoming generations. New markets came up, especially in Asia, but also if we look 20 years back, markets like the Middle East, and they discovered Vienna, they discovered Austria, they discovered Europe, and still today we also are relevant for them. So I think that's a combination of embracing the heritage and really focusing on the new and developing, and having always a relevance for the customer.
It's a kind of fluency you have.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah.
There's another aspect of Vienna and consistency, and it's connected to a topic that I think everybody's in the industry is talking about. The associations are talking about it, the CVBs are talking about it, and that is staff. How do you find staff, and how you are incredibly successful in staff retention? Can you tell us what the magic is?
The magic formula. Well, if there is one, I don't have it. No, I'm just kidding. It's really a gift what we have in the Vienna Tourist Office. There is an excellent combination of people being there for many years, some of them for decades, which means they have a lot of knowledge about the destination and about the job. And at the same time, they're youngsters. And I think you have to have the combination of both. If you don't have the mixture, it's really a danger that you get stuck in your old ways of doing things and old ways of how you think. So it needs to be the combination. What is crucial again is how people work together. And just recently I saw on Instagram a post saying, company's culture is the feeling you have on Sunday evening about Monday morning. So I like that very much. Yep. And if it feels like, oh my goodness, morning, Monday, or do you feel, hey, another week, another couple of interesting projects. Looking forward to seeing somebody. So, and that's exactly the feeling you have on Sunday evening about Monday morning. It really puts it really to the point. And I love it. And it seems like we do have a wonderful feeling on Sunday evening and looking forward to Monday morning. And I do very much.
Amazing, amazing. What about the project Coopetion, which was developed a long time ago with Barcelona and I think with some other big cities? Is this still active or it's not active anymore?
Through pandemic, it got a little bit paused, and we right now are starting to talk again and to reinvent it. I strongly believe that this is really necessary to do. Why? We used to have the model of the Homo economicus, and it should be the Homo operaticus, cooperaticus, working together. That's the only difference we can make, working together in the destination, working together in the region, working together in Europe. And combinations and cooperations, competition with Barcelona, with Berlin, with other destinations could help us in Europe to really show how much we have to offer. And I strongly believe that this is a step forward. And through pandemic, it got stuck a little bit. We know the circumstances, but now pandemic is over and we are opening a new book.
Do you still believe, or do you believe that Europe is number one in meetings and events? What is the zeitgeist of the situation on the market?
Excellent question. We just have been in Abu Dhabi a couple of weeks ago, and it's really overwhelming what's happening in that part of the world. Big congratulations to the people there, what they're doing and how they are developing in a speed which is mind-blowing, I have to say. And at the same time, I think Europe is just awesome in its own way. Very authentic, very rich with the past, with the heritage, and at the same time always keeping to innovate, which I think is necessary. At the same time, I think that we have to be very careful not to rely on the success from the past. And I do have the feeling sometimes in some conversations that we underestimate some emerging markets and that we are a little bit too proud on what we have achieved through the past decades. And it needs to have the growth mindset to appreciate what we have, but at the same time don't get stuck. And sometimes I have the feeling that in Europe we tend a little bit to be, if I may say, arrogant. Sometimes we are the superstars and we invented it and we know how it works, which is okay to be proud of what we have achieved. But you know, nobody has a guarantee for being successful for the future. You have to work hard to have also success for the future, and you have to develop. You have to have an open mindset. It needs to have the embracement of the technologies, of the evolvements, of the innovations, of what's happening all over the places, and don't underestimate the emerging markets.
And automotive is a great example. Yeah.
Oh yes, absolutely. A couple of years back, we thought we are the center of that sector, of that. No. We are saying how it works, and everybody else has to copy. And this is dangerous. And there is no guarantee for success for the future. You have to keep working on it. I'm a strongly believer for that.
I would like to take that same full thought and put it on to the meetings industry, because you've been in the meetings industry now for about a year. We met at IMEX, so you basically have gone through the entire cycle almost of a year of how convention bureaus operate and most of the main activities and so forth. And because you come in a fresher way, where do you see we should make changes as an industry? If any, of course.
Yes, I think we're focusing very much on quantitative numbers. Whenever is somebody asking, it's a question about how many meetings, how many congresses, how many participants, what is the economic value, do we have more euros today than we had yesterday, do we have more participants today than we had yesterday, do we have more participants than any other continent, we're counting numbers. And I think that's very limited. And yes, it is important, but it's limited. And there is much more behind our sector, which is completely ignored. And there was one conversation which really touched me. It was in the very beginning of my new role with a congress organizer. And there was a doctor in that conversation, and we're talking about, okay, why are you doing what you're doing? And he told me a story about a congress he was organizing, and there was a panel. They were talking about very specific disease. I don't remember the name anymore. And afterwards, one of the attendees came to him and said, well, this is exactly a case I have with one of my patients in a hospital in New Zealand. And with what he heard on that panel, he could save that boy in New Zealand. And he said, I mean, this is really what makes the difference. This is why we do congresses. This is what really it is about. It's not about the carbon footprint. It is not about flying around places and so, but this is what makes the difference. And this is what's happening. And we're not talking about that at all. Not in the local environment, not in the local society. And it's so rich. And everybody who had maybe a case in a family, with your relatives, with your beloved ones, you would love to have a doctor knowing how to help you, how to save maybe somebody's life. And we're not talking about that in our business.
Talking about microphones in meeting rooms. If we know that actually Austria and Vienna have basically, I would say, the longest standing statistics of tourism arrivals and general tourism statistics, where do you see we have to make that change to introduce that measurement, to calculate that true value of the industry?
If I would have an answer, it would make my life easier. I don't have it yet. There is a saying from Peter Drucker, what's being measured is being done. And if it's not measured, it's not being done. And I struggle with that because I don't know yet how to measure it. And I strongly believe we need to have that component, because more euros and more attendees, yes, it is important, but it's not enough. It's not enough. There's so much more than that, and we need to talk about that. And it will help us with all those over-tourism discussions. It would help us with infrastructure. It would help us with sustainability, focusing on environment. It would help us on so many other topics, because business events are more than just that.
Absolutely. So you are saying that we need to measure the regenerative effects, which we all talk about, but we never put this into money or, I don't know, real actions. So I absolutely agree with that. So this is beyond carbon footprint, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Last but not least, because we are running out of time, I really like the idea that Europe is still authentic, and I need to mention all these special venues you have in Vienna. That's amazing. I mean, those venues are ready for action. These are venues who knows how to deal with the meetings and events, which is a big difference. If you have just a venue, which is, I don't know, public institution. Is there anything new coming? Because always there is something new in Vienna.
Yes.
Can you share some of the novelties,
Yes.
actually?
Brand new
Yeah.
information. Just announced on Monday, if I remember correctly. We will have a new arena. And it has been just announced 2 days ago, and it's supposed to be ready by 2030, and will have a capacity of 20,000 people. So this is the new kid on the block, and we are very much looking forward to that. And this will be just an excellent space for so many different occasions, sporting events included, but also concerts and much more. And at the same time, the existing venues are always developing and always enhancing. Of course, technology is relevant to all of them, and they invest, which I think is crucial and important and helps the destination. But this is kind of hot news from the press.
Top.
Yeah.
And if I ask you why Vienna in 3 words, what would you say to me? Just in 3
Oh
words.
my goodness, in 3 words.
This is difficult, I know.
Oh, that's difficult, really. Okay, in 3 words. Excellence, I would say. It's innovation and being professional. Professionalism, to be in 3 words. Yeah.
Anita, thank you very much. Before we finish, we usually finish off with a couple of short questions.
Oh,
so
okay.
they're like fire questions.
Okay.
You can just answer, or you can develop your answer as well.
Okay.
So the first I would like to ask you is the mountains or the sea?
Sea. Being born in Dalmatia in Šibenik, of course.
It's illogical.
Although I love the mountains, I have to say, I love them. But if I have to decide, it's the sea. Yeah.
My one is working from home or office?
Office.
Office. Can you elaborate this a little bit?
I like to have people around me. I love the team, I love the exchange, and I think you can't do exchange in a virtual space. It is helpful, but that's you don't feel people if you're in a home office. So definitely the office.
Espresso or Wiener Melange?
Melange, Wiener Melange.
Train or car? That's the last one.
Oh my goodness, that's a difficult one. If I'm alone in my car and I can really hear loud music, it's the car. Otherwise, it's the train.
What kind of music? No, we'll finish that. So thanks, Anita, for being our guest. So it was amazing. Ljubljana Talk once again. Stay tuned. We are coming back in 5-10 minutes. And see you soon.
Thank you.
Hvala
Thank
lijepa.
you.